Hi, everyone, and welcome back to College Planning Tip of the Week. I'm Nancy Steenson with Steenson College Coaching, and with me today, as always, is Jack Wang from Longhorn Financial. So, Jack, can you tell me when do most families start thinking about financial aid?
Yeah, most families don't think about financial aid till towards the end of the process. So if you think about the entire college application admissions process, right? Most families will start thinking about like a search, how to find the right school, or how to find the schools that offer a particular major, as the case may be. Then families and students are worried about things like test scores and GPA and transcript, and then the essay, of course, and then getting letters of recommendation. Quite often, families, even the ones who work with college admissions consultants, don't really think about financial aid till one of the last steps. And it typically occurs the fall of senior year when the financial aid applications open up on October 1st. Parents maybe all along have thought about, gee, what can I afford? Do I need to borrow, right? Maybe in the back of their head, but they don't really think about sitting down and crunching some numbers or really taking a hard look at what they can actually afford and what they're willing to pay until much later in the process, and usually kicking off not till fall of senior year, which is quite late.
What are some key questions that families can ask if they're working with someone on financing college?
Yeah, there's a difference between sort of doing financial aid, which a lot of people talk about, and true financial aid consulting. And a lot of people say, oh, I'm a or admissions consultant, things like that. There's a significant difference. And I use this as an example. Think about when you're filing your taxes. So you might submit the proverbial shoebox full of receipts, sit down with your accountant, right? Your accountant prepares your tax return. And right before you're about to hit that, sign the tax return or hit the submit button, if at that point you're asking, hey, accountant, how do I get more? How do I save more in taxes? Well, quite frankly, that's too late because remember, the tax return only shows what has already happened. And for most people who do financial aid and who think about financial aid right towards the end, that is exactly what happens, right? They're on the verge of hitting that submit button on the FAFSA and or the CSS profile. And then right before they hit the button, quite often families will ask, well, wait a second, what do I need to do before I hit that button to get more financial aid? It's too late. The financial aid form is also shows what has already happened. College financial aid consulting, true financial aid consulting, takes place much earlier, as early as perhaps freshman year of high school or sophomore year. Okay, maybe junior year, but really, but freshman, sophomore year, sometimes as early as eighth grade, because it's all about the strategies and the things that you can do to get your finances set up so that by the time senior year rolls around and you're ready to fill out the form, you're not asking at that point, gee, what do I need to do to get more financial aid? Because you already knew the answer and you've already done those things. So the key question to ask yourself or anybody you might work with, okay, this is a really telltale kind of signal, these two questions, is number one, when does that person take a copy of your tax return? And if the answer to that is, oh, I take it in senior year right before we do the financial aid form, then they do financial aid, they don't do that financial aid consulting, right? So again, that's sort of the proverbial, hey, accountant, here's my shoebox full of receipts. Here you go, right, to do the tax return. Now, I know some consultants take it a little bit earlier. So the second question is, well, when you get the tax return, even if you get it early, what do you actually do with it? And now I know some people say, oh, we take the tax return and we'll calculate the family EFC, the expected family contribution. And that's great, but then what? And so when I talk about true financial aid consulting, it's calculating the EFC, but then coming up with the strategies to get that number down or to figure out a good way to pay for college, right? That's the true consulting part. And that's the part where I don't see a lot. So if you're working with someone or families are working with someone, those two questions right there, when do you take the tax return and what do you actually do with it? Those will actually tell you how much they're truly going to help you with financial aid versus not.
Got it. Thank you so much, Jack. Great information as always. Everyone, I hope you join us next week for College Planning Tip of the Week.
Thanks so much, Nancy.